Hey everyone, so going to start the video off a little bit different today. Going to talk fundamentals. No, I'm not on drugs, and no, we're not going to change our name to the Fundamental Guys, but this is important information. I'm going to be using IAN as an example, but even if you don't care about IAN, this information is going to be useful. So, I used to read financial statements back in my penny stock days when I first started in this sector, and there were only 8 companies, and I read front and back what these financial statements were saying, and I learned very quickly in the penny stock world on the OTC what convertible debt is, because you see a penny stock chart and you look at 90% of penny stock charts and it's just a long sustained downtrend for years, and I was wondering, how can this happen? And the answer is convertible debt. And I put out an intro to USMJ video, not the most recent presentation, but I put this one out maybe 18 months ago, and I talked a lot about reading financials and convertible debt and recognizing that in that video. So if this subject interests you, go back and watch that video. But bottom line, IAN. And before I start this off, I'm sure anybody who's been watching me can believe when I say that I want nothing more than IAN to go up. If you could say you can choose one MJ stock to go up 20% tomorrow, who's it going to be? I would say IAN, because I know a lot of people are hurting, and I know I have friends with IAN in their portfolio. So this has nothing to do with any kind of agenda as far as direction that I want IAN to go. But what we know is IAN is one of the weakest performing USMJ names comparative to other names. And we start to see the narrative thrown out of shorts are attacking our stock, just wait for the short squeeze. And I really don't like that. And the reason I don't like that is because that's what every single penny stock message board is saying right now. If you go to investor hubs and you look at the charts that are going down for 3 years, there are groups there where if you say something bad, you're shorting the stock. If you say something negative, and it's just people saying shorts are going to get squeezed, and they never do. So I don't like that narrative. So I want to know actually what's going on. And yes, shorts can drive the price down, and there are certain instances where shorts can have a strangle on a stock, but I think it's very overplayed how much that happens. So I wanted to look and see what's wrong with IAN. We know IAN is underperforming everybody else. Some scenarios, IAN is being shorted more than any other USMJ name, and it's crushing the price. Number 2, there is overhead shares from the deal with MPX that are leading to a huge supply of shares and are keeping the price contained with constant selling pressure. So I wanted to get the answer, and I went and read, and I'm going to walk you through my steps of how I did due diligence to find out the answer of what the reason is for IAN's price being so subdued over the last however many months. The first thing I did was I looked at the short numbers, where it tells you how many shorts a day of the average, or how many shorts a day of the volume traded was shorts. For IAN, since September 1st, since September started, it's 36% of the average daily volume is short volume. And I wanted to compare to another peer, Curaleaf, which has been performing well. Its total is 35% of its daily volume is short. Curaleaf is up 12% in September. IAN is down 18%. So that tells me with comparable shorts on this stock, that can't be a reason that there's such a discrepancy in the price action. So I then went and read the financial statements, and I went to MPX first. And I said, okay, did MPX have convertible debt? And what convertible debt is it's debt. I'm a lender. I give you $1 million. You give me convertible debt. That means my $1 million is going to be converted into shares and given back to me, and I can then sell those shares on the open market and collect my repayment. And most times those shares are given at a discount to what the current price is, so I can sell for a long time and still be profitable. So I went into MPX earnings, and I looked down and I looked at their convertible debt and look at their non-current liabilities. Convertible debt and credit facility, option component of convertible debt, convertible loan, option component of convertible loan. That totals $85 million. That's a lot when you're talking about names traded on the OTC and a lack of significant dollar volume. If I have $85 million of shares to sell, it's going to take me a long time to sell those shares, and it's going to sustain the price. Why would I be selling IAN shares all the way from $7 to $5 and still selling down at $2.20. Why am I still selling? Because I'm still making money on selling those shares. So from there, I said, okay, MPX had convertible debt, no doubt about it. I then looked at IAN financials, their most recent financials. There's nothing on the balance sheet about convertible debt. So that tells me when the merger went through, they likely settled this convertible debt with shares. They covered it with shares. So then one of our members shared this document. It's the business acquisition report of the deal between MPX and IAN. So I press Control F, and I want to know, I don't want to do that. Control F, and I want to know, where does it say convertible in this document? And the first one. So concurrent with the completion of the agreement, IAN assumed the obligation of MPX to issue common shares and warrants to purchase common shares on the conversion of $40 million in principal amount of senior secured convertible debt. So we pull up the April 29th press release, and I'm editing the video right now. I just put out the previous video, and I made this mistake of assuming the conversion price was 74 cents a share, and it's 74 cents per 1.6 shares. So in reality, that conversion price is about $4.40 Canadian, and the shares are 9 million shares and 4.5 million warrants. The thing is, this only covers partially what was on the MPX financials. So on the MPX financials, we had $34 million for, where are we here? Convertible loan. So in my opinion, that press release is telling us how that convertible loan was paid off. What I want to know is, how did these convertible debts and credit facilities for $10 million get paid off? What happened to the option component of convertible debt and credit facility for $17 million? And where's the option and component for the convertible loan? That could be the warrants, the 4.5 million warrants. I would assume that's the case. So what's still missing is the convertible debt. And it appears we know what the convertible loan went to. So the goal of this video is for everybody to do some research, because what I'm going to say is probably going to sting a little bit. The fact that a chart guy in literally 30 minutes of research is finding this stuff out, and it's new information to fundamental long-term investors, that's a red flag. If this is very superficial public information, that again, it took 30 minutes. So I would say that if this is something that was missed and a long-term investment was made in the company, that's a wake-up call to say, okay, I should do better and put in a little bit more time and effort in the future. And there's nothing wrong with that. We make mistakes all the time. I'm uploading this video again because I made a mistake on the conversion price. And I appreciate people fixing and correcting me on that conversion price, because what the goal is of this video is to compile the facts. What happened to this convertible debt? How many shares were issued? And are these shares the reason that IAN is underperforming peers? In my opinion, I don't need any more information, in the sense that, yes, that's the reason. And I can see it on the chart as well. If you look at the IAN chart, the bull break that we had, we traded sideways for 3 weeks. We get a bull break, and literally the next day, we get 2 days in a row of the highest selling volume in a significant amount of time, in about a month. So for that to happen, that tells me someone waited for a bull break and sold a significant amount of shares into that bullish momentum and then completely wiped it out. And here we are where we stand right now. So is it this lender with that specific example of a 440 conversion price? I have no idea. It's possible they could be selling under 440, knowing that they have another 4.5 million warrants that they could convert. But it's also possible maybe it has to do with this convertible debenture and credit facility that we don't know what happened to that yet. So if you can find out what happened to that $27 million, I would love to hear it. And again, please continue to compile information and share research. And let's get to the bottom of what happened to all of these liabilities on the MPX balance sheet. The last and most important part of this video is this video shouldn't determine whether you buy or sell or do anything in the short term right now. This is all backwards looking. We have clues of weakness. We're looking, why is there weakness? And we're trying to answer, and we're doing a good job, in my opinion, of answering why there is weakness. We could be close to breaching the climax of their selling. I wouldn't be selling when daily and 4-hour RSI are about to be oversold. The lesson and takeaway is this information was very easily accessible, and learning about convertible debt is very important with trading and investing on the OTC. Perhaps making better habits with doing due diligence. But other than that, we're going to look for a daily trend change, and we will notice, you better believe those of us that are watching the trading every day will notice when the selling pressure has subsided and the bulls are allowed to see momentum in their favor. And like I said, it'll probably be very clear on the chart with just how clear that quick shift in momentum will be. Do I think there's going to be a massive short squeeze? No, I don't, unless the whole sector does it on some, geopolitical, not geopolitical, but just political news. But other than that, again, this is all just for lesson. This is not I'm going to take this information and act on it. This is, here's the information. We have lessons to learn from it. We have information we can gather from it. And now that can make us more prepared moving forward with future investments.